everybody, and welcome to E-commerce Quick Fix Cross Border Magazine official podcast. Today is a happy day for me because we're going to be talking with a dear friend, Alejandro Moreno, who happens to be an expert in e-commerce, specifically for Latin America and for America in general. But I think that globally, Alejandro knows a lot about e-commerce. He also happens to be a co-founder of Get More, which I believe is perhaps one of the best agencies regarding how to create e-commerce websites using Shopify. But we're going to be talking about all that in a few minutes. Alejandro is talking to us directly from Canada right now. How are you, Alejandro? How's everything?
Hello, Frank. How are you? Thank you very much for having me here. Great. Everything is doing great right now. We are just, as today we are welcoming the spring. So we have the sun here in Canada, and I'm getting ready for high season in Mexico and Latin America in terms of e-commerce. Is coming. It's coming.
Precisely talking about Mexico, I was this close to say Alejandro is talking to us directly from Mexico because I'm so used to talking to
Absolutely.
you while you are in Mexico. No, Mexico has become like your stronghold. I mean, it was the birthplace of Get More, and I know that it's one of the markets that you know the best. And precisely because of that, we would like to start from that point onward. Can you give us a quick status of how is the e-commerce situation right now in Mexico?
Absolutely. So Mexico is our home. So we started in Mexico 8 years ago. We've been working with Mexican clients since from the beginning, and in the last 3 to 4 years, we have expanded into US and Canada as well. So right now, our client rosters is like half and half. I would say like half of our clients are from Mexico, and the other half is between Mexico and between sorry the US and Canada. Right now, we are living and we are experiencing a great moment in terms of e-commerce in Mexico because of many things. First of all, our currency is super strong. So a bunch of different international brands are coming to Mexico,
I've
and they
heard
are
tales about the super peso. Everybody talks about that.
it is it really is, like it's about like 35% stronger than
Wow.
it used to be,
Oh,
right?
that's amazing.
The It is amazing. The Mexican bonds are insanely high, like record high, like they are 11, 12% of return rate per year. So it's crazy. But yeah, that is like one of the reasons, because like a lot of international brands are coming to Mexico, and they are coming in two different ways. Some of them, they are coming directly from their base, right? Like if they are in the US, if they are in Germany, if they are in Spain, they say they sell directly from there to the Mexican market. But like bigger brands or some other brands, they have established like an operation in Mexico,
Hmm.
not necessarily like from them directly, but like through a 3PL or something like that. So it is happening a lot of like it's going on a lot of different things. Also, we have seen recently that a bunch of different brands are migrating from their legacy platforms or other platforms into Shopify Plus, which is great. Like people and IT teams are tired of maintaining infrastructure, of having downtimes, of having like issues with the technology. So that is another reason why a bunch of different brands are migrating to Shopify Plus. So we are seeing that shift as well. So yeah, it's
Would you
it's
say
growing.
that the digital maturity in Mexico it's good enough for brands all over the world to expand to do cross border into Mexico?
It re- it is, and the challenge here, and it really depends on the type of the product and on the market niche that you are attaining. But like the challenge here is like the payment gateways,
Yeah,
right?
I remember that a few years ago, the credit card access in Mexico, or the bank, or digital banks, or digital access to banking services in Mexico was still a problem. I mean, actually, I remember that it was precisely with you that we talk about the OXXO and the payment in the OXXOs directly, like physical payment for online transactions, which
Exactly.
sounded weird. Is that thing still happening?
It has improved a lot in the last 2 to 3 years. Like it has improved insanely. But like still, there are like different challenges and different issues regarding the payment gateways. The first one is what you just mentioned, the access to credit cards. Like I will say like just 10% of the population has access to a credit card, but like that wouldn't affect your brand if you are attaining that market niche, right? If you are attaining like upper or middle class and above, then you won't be affected because of that. Then the other issue, or the other, well, this is an issue. This is not a challenge. Is like the fraud. Mexico is considered like one of the top five countries with most frauds online, right? So it is
Credit
super
card
complicated.
cloning and that kind of stuff, isn't it?
Basically
Phishing,
that,
basically that. Credit
basically cloning,
cloning, yeah.
basically, yeah, basically cloning, a lot of chargebacks. So there are like two payment gateways that are the winners and the safest in terms of that, and that is PayPal, and the other one is Mercado Pago, right? The Argentinian payment gateway from Mercado Libre, which is like the Latin American eBay
eBay,
version,
yeah.
eBay version. So yeah, so we always recommend to implement those, and that's it, right? Like none, like there are some US gateways that technology wise they work perfect, like they are great, but like they are not adapted into the Mexican market, so a lot of chargebacks are coming through them.
Hmm.
So that is why like we recommend those. So that's another challenge. And but like at the same time, there have been another, like some companies that have developed and have created these buy now pay later products, right?
Okay.
And the winner there is Quesky in Mexico. So Quesky with a Q, with a K, sorry. Like they do, they are doing really great, right? Because like
Quesky
they
Pay.
offer Quesky Pay, exactly. They offer an amazing solution to the population. So the way that it works is a little different than Klarna or Afterpay. Like they they issue a payment gateway based on your credit score. This one, the Quesky, is without a credit card, without a credit score. So what they do is that they analyze all of the actions that the user is performing in the website, because they have like a blacklist and they have like a set of uh, already trends where they can detect when someone is gonna commit fraud, if like they have so many tabs in your browser, if you are clicking too fast, if you are scrolling a lot, if you are erasing the name or whatever
Wow.
they do, like through through their technology they can detect that behavior, and based on that one they issue or not or deny a credit, and the
Wow.
credit is paid via OXXO or some other solutions. OXXO is like the convenience stores, like 7-Eleven. So it is an amazing solution for the Mexican and Latin American market.
And Quesky payments are done like directly, or payments installments. Like you can pay by part.
You can pay by parts. You can pay
Okay.
by parts. So you can pay like bi-weekly. They always charge the end customer bi-weekly, but like they pay the brand, they pay the merchant 100% minus their commission.
So there is an option for installment payments, which is important in Latin America, and generally speaking, because it allows you to don't have to decapitalize immediately. You can pay
Mhm.
whatever you want in common in comfortable installments. Now, we talk about payments. We talk about the access to e-commerce solutions like Shopify. Uh, what about logistics? Has that improved also in Mexico recently? I remember a few years ago, I think there was the Carta Porte situation in which they kind of changed the current legislation regarding on transportation of products across the nation, and it was kind of an issue at that time, if I remember correctly. Has that been solved? Is the logistics change working fluidly in Mexico right now?
Yes, the logistics are no longer a
An
barrier
issue.
for e-commerce brands. There are some solutions to that, because like you have like like the big players in terms of like of the couriers, UPS, DHL, and FedEx, whatever. But like also you have like aggregators of those, right? Like we call them like the label resellers, because
Okay.
that's what basically they do, right? So they resell the label, and it works for small or micro entrepreneurs that they sell 10 or 50 orders per month. They were great, but like then you have another solution, uh, which is the third party logistics, right? The 3PLs. And in Mexico, the biggest players, well, actually in Latin America, the biggest player is called Cubo,
Cubo.
Cubbo. They they are phenomenal. They were really good. They are super efficient. Uh, their process is like seamless, is super streamlined. So it is like they are doing a great work in terms of logistics. So if you are a brand that is selling 200 orders or above, then you should definitely work with a company like them, because like you will not need to be worried about the operations and the logistics of your product. They also they just expanded, and they have like direct delivery. They own a last mile company, and they do direct delivery in the three main cities, right? In Mexico, Monterrey, and Guadalajara. And the e-commerce in Mexico, like the 85% of the e-commerce in Mexico happens in those three cities, and they offer same day delivery if you order before 12 p.m. Right?
Which is
So
amazing.
which is amazing, right? So you don't have to worry about that.
Well,
So
I want to send regards to Kuo because we know I know them. I think you know them also. They're really nice guys. They're both co-founders, Brian York and Josu Gurtubay. Josu was here in Madrid last year for the FEMA convention on e-commerce. It's
I
such an
remember that.
amazing guy. Is a really smart guy, really nice guy to deal with. And I believe that what they have done, it's just short of incredible. I mean, it's incredible what they have been able to concoct there and what they have been able to create. It is indeed a monster Kubo right now for the better. No, I mean the using of the word
It
monster
is.
like we use it in Spain. No, un monstruo. No, it's a
Right.
really great thing. So yeah. I hope. Well, it's great news what you're saying because they are dear friends, and I'm happy that to see that Kubo is like, in your opinion, the biggest player right now. And that it also answers the question. You know, if you want to sell in Mexico, you no longer have to deal with the issue of lost packages or your truck getting mugged in the middle of the way, which used to
Right.
happen a lot in some states. Now that's under control. No.
It is. It is because like you don't have to no longer worry about that part. You just need to make sure that your shipment from Germany, Denmark, UK, whatever,
Arrives to
goes
the port.
straight into the port, and then Kubo takes the logistic from there.
That's great.
Right.
That's great.
So
We're gonna be adding on the as we used to do for the people that it's following us either by audio or by video. We on the YouTube video descriptions we will be adding all the links to all the brands and companies and services that we are mentioning today, so you can actually access them and check it out and see if it's a good match for you. Now we understand, Alejandro, that the situation is really looks really promising in Mexico right now. Would you say that this is the right time for a brand in Europe to jump and start selling in Mexico, try to expand, do the cross border operation in Mexico?
it's always a good time, in my opinion, because like Mexico, it's a very big country, right? Like we are 125 million inhabitants, so it's always a good time. Right now is better than tomorrow, definitely, because like a lot of brands are coming, right? So the market, I will not say that the market will get saturated, because like it already is. Like there are like millions of different options per product per industry. It is hard, like to find unattained niche or something like that. My recommendation always, like regarding where you are selling in terms of e-commerce, is that as niches as you are, the more success and the probability for more success that you have, right? So
You have to lay down the specific kind of buyer that you want, don't you? I mean, you have to go for something that
exactly.
it's a real niche, really targeted, really specific buyer persona.
Mhm. Exactly. And if that happens to be a significant amount of people in Mexico, then it's a perfect time.
And
right?
you have a good chance of that happening because there is a lot of Mexicans there.
Exactly, exactly, right? So the the behavior is a little different,
Hmm.
right? Like in Mexico works different than in the US. Like the customer support need to be a little more aggressive, or not aggressive, but like more supportive, right? Like they love being served by WhatsApp, which that doesn't happen in the US, in some parts of Europe. So there are like some tropicalizations that you as a company need to understand about the Mexican market in order to be successful, right? So, in terms of customer service, terms of payments, terms of logistics, what type of information you are displaying in your product page, what does trust signifiers means in Mexico and the difference between some other parts of the world, what widgets do you need to add, or what checkout extensions do you need to add in your checkout so you can convert more. Like there are some specifics here and there that you need to understand in order to have like higher probability for being successful. But like at the end of the day, it's you are like when you start selling abroad, you are going to pass through a learning curve that, and there is no shortcut for that.
No, of course not. I mean, you have to master the new market. Now, for an European brand that wants to sell in Mexico, what do you think will be better? To sell through a marketplace or to actually create their own website? And I'm asking you this because those cultural differences that you mentioned might have an impact on your answer. I mean, obviously, if the Latinos, we are more prone to talk and to ask and to be in more contact with each other and with the brands, it's better to have like a website in which the community can gather around, or do you think it's better to sell through an already established marketplace that has that already has been able to garner the confidence of the people, like for example Mercado Libre you mentioned in Latin America, which is
Right.
widely accepted. Which one do you think will be better?
That's a very complicated question to answer, because like there is no one straight answer. Like it always depends. At the end of the day, we wanna sell everywhere, right? We wanna sell online, we wanna sell in marketplace, because like each of like each sell channel has a different objective, a different goal, right? The advantage of the marketplace, as we all know, is that you have like a bunch of different users already, right? Your challenge is to position your product within the marketplace, but like not getting traffic, not getting community, nothing like that, right? But like that is a different challenge and a different goal than creating a D2C. Uh, it's also like, but like just to go back to your question, like I would recommend like depending on the type of product that you go straight with your D2C, right?
To the
If
marketplace?
you uh, to your online store,
Oh,
if you
to
have
your own website, you mean?
if you have if you have like a branded product, like a niche product, you should go there because it's gonna be easier to create a community.
Hmm.
In the marketplace, there are like two different players: Mercado Libre and Amazon. Mercado Libre is way bigger than Amazon in Mexico,
In Mexico,
and
we could say that for sure. Like Mercado Libre is bigger than Amazon in Mexico. Is that a fact?
that's, yeah, it is a fact, and it's still true. I,
Wow.
I'm, I doubt it's gonna sustain for the long run, like that. It's always gonna be a big player, but like I'm not somehow, like, because like the difference and the gap has been shortening
Yeah,
in the
of
last
course,
in the last
Amazon has the might and power of Amazon behind. You know, they
exactly,
are fighting
exactly,
to get the prime position there. That's for sure.
exactly. Yeah, the thing with Mercado Libre is that Mercado Libre serves for the middle to lower class,
Okay,
and that's like a conception about the marketplaces in Mexico, right? Like the type of products that they sell in Mercado Libre are different than the types of products that they sell in Amazon,
we could
right?
say
Like
that
in Mercado,
medium to high tickets go to Amazon and medium to low go to Mercado Libre. Would be that
I would
right?
say I would say that because like Amazon has a brand image higher than Mercado Libre. Mercado Libre has like a conception of lower quality products,
Okay.
right? So if you are selling like plain T-shirts, if you are selling mugs, if you are selling a phone cases or something like that, Mercado Libre is a great fit for you. If you are selling like scented candles, if you are selling perfumes, if you're selling, like something more niche or something more that you can have like bigger margins or whatever, then Amazon is a better fit, right?
Hmm. And what
And
would you say is the average ticket in Mexico? I mean, what is like the average ticket that an online buyer spends money in Mexico? What would be like the normal amount of money that someone spends in a single purchase?
generally, like generally speaking, the average ticket will be between 35 to 50 US dollars.
Okay, that's not bad. That's actually really
It's not
good. It's
bad.
close to Europe, to the European standard of average ticket also in Europe. That's nice. I guess that the high ticket will be different, of course, due to obvious
Exactly.
reasons, but the average is pretty nice.
Yeah, and also depends per industry, right? Like for example, in shoes, the average ticket online is just a little higher,
Of course.
right? In shoes, but like there in makeup as well. But like there are some other industries like basic stuff that is a little lower, right?
And
So
and
yeah,
would you
but like
say which one is the industry that sells the most? Which one is the sector that sells the most in Mexico?
electronics,
Yeah, for real. No
eh,
fashion.
for real, electronics, and then fashion and
And then
apparel.
fashion. Yeah, I was waiting for fashion.
Right.
Fashion is like
Yeah,
the king
absolutely.
globally. Now, if I
Yeah.
have a brand in let's say Germany and I want to sell in Mexico and I'm listening to the podcast, I'm listening to you and I say, hey, you know what, Alejandro is right. I should create my own website. Which one will be your advice then? I mean, what should a brand do? Like go for a SaaS solution or try to do a custom, code website, or what will be the correct approach?
We always recommend Shopify. It's so easy to build and so easy to sustain and maintain and to operate as well, right? So you just have to open an account, make the setup, and that's it. You are set for start selling online. It's super simple. Like it's very I I don't know. Like I've been spoken with hundreds of of brand owners and like marketing CMOs and whatever. And I think that I have recommended a custom solution or a different solution than Shopify maybe 5 times in
That's
eight
it.
years,
No more.
8 years, because like there are super ultra specific requirements that are not being able to do with Shopify,
I
but like just a
remember.
handful.
Yeah, and those are really odd cases, as you said. I remember a conversation, a podcast actually we did for Shopify with our friend Pancho Mendiola. You know Pancho
Hmm.
also, and he said
Yeah,
something amazing in that podcast. He said like nowadays technology for e-commerce building, like the one that Shopify has, and I don't want to make this whole episode an advertising for Shopify,
yeah.
of course not, but I do want to highlight this because it is true, and we want to be honest with our audience. I mean, he said one of you can buy the technology that Shopify has already there. You can actually sell rockets, spaceship rockets, and there are websites that are actually offering like airplanes and stuff. So even those ultra complex products that require a thoughtful review on the customer side, that will require perhaps a direct contact via chat and multiple questions, and it's a large investment. We're talking about thousands of dollars to buy the product. Those things can be effectively sold online with solutions like Shopify. Shopify obviously is not the only one. Uh, for obvious reasons, because you work with Shopify and I have many years also supporting Shopify with content, we recommend that. But generally speaking, we can say, Alejandro, that there's no need to code anything now. I mean, nowadays, I
There is
mean,
no need.
that's a waste of time. Only in very odd specific cases. Correct?
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, unless your product is a coding based product, but like besides that, you don't need to code. You need to focus on selling, focus on acquiring customers, on selling more to your customers, improving your metrics. Like you need to focus on that, like developing new products. You don't need to focus as a brand owner. You don't need to focus on the creation of the technology of like if downtimes, maintenance, certificate, security, a lot of different stuff that is not your area of expertise, right? So yeah, to build a platform, like a custom platform with the same level as Shopify, will cost millions of dollars,
Yes, yes,
right?
yeah, that's right.
And
That's it. Just doesn't make
with
any
Shopify,
sense, you know.
doesn't make any sense. And with Shopify, with $20 a month, you are up and running.
Well, of course, we're talking about B2C, you know, direct to
Exactly.
consumer, you know, retail stuff. There are other solutions for B2B. One of them is Intershop, which is amazing. And there are, of course, other possibilities of also doing B2B using Shopify and many other platforms. We will commit one entire episode to B2B because that's an entirely different animal and it requires, you know, the correct approach to that. But generally speaking, would you say that if a brand is successful, has been successful in Europe? Obviously, what I'm asking you requires a lot of review of multiple different things to provide a proper answer. But if you have a brand that has been able to be successful online selling with an e-commerce in Europe, do you think that it is fairly possible to replicate that level of success in Mexico? I mean, Mexico has the digital maturity, the payment solutions, the logistic options, and the software solutions at a level that it's enough for an European brand, an e-commerce brand, to be successful also in Mexico.
Yes, that is, yeah, it is totally possible to have like the same or even more. Like it really depends. But like I think like we talked about this on our previous episode, that in order to have like a successful e-commerce, you need to have super clear four pillars, right? The first pillar is the product market fit. So that's your first question. Does my product in Germany adapt or is needed in the Mexican market? If you have a product market fit, then you move to the second one. And the second pillar is technology, right? Technology is like, does my technology is ready to start selling, is ready to scale, is efficient to operate? And if you are Shopify, if you are using Shopify, you don't need to worry about that. The third one is the operations and logistics. And that is why we recommend like don't think about it and just go with Kubo and that and forget about that. Don't have any nightmares in terms of operations and logistics. And the fourth one, which could be the hardest one, is the community, right? You need to start building a community. You need to start your social media movement, hire the right people, creating different strategies. Like now is very trendy, the UGC, influencers, whatever, right? So if you have at the same level the four pillars, it's gonna be a success no matter what. But like if you are missing at least one of those pillars, then it's not going to work. Not in Mexico, not in Europe, not
Nor
in
anywhere.
Africa, not in US, right? So you need to have like super strong four pillars and at the same level. One of them cannot be way above the other ones because it's not gonna be sustainable.
That's right. That's correct. Now, for someone that is listening to or watching the podcast, which one will be like the first three steps that any brand needs to take if they want to expand into Mexico? What will be your first, like, these are the first steps that you need to take?
First of all, to do like a market research, right? Start doing a market research, benchmark what other companies, what other products are uh, I am going to be competing with. That will be the first one. The second one, just to create like a simple test with some ads, right? The same store that you are, the same online store that you are currently having in Europe, make some tweaks based on geolocation, right?
Mhm.
Like, and whenever change the language, like maybe change pricing and whatever, and invest just like a few $1,000s into Facebook ads or whatever in Mexico and advertise your product to see the reaction, right? The worst case there is like you don't get any clients or you get just a few of them, and then you start learning about those experiences. If you get a lot of traffic, if you get a lot of orders, then you figure out that happy problem, right? And I will say like with those two things, then you have like a clear high level image and high level vision about like what you are going getting yourself into.
like a map,
eh,
of what you're
like a map.
getting into. No, it's interesting, Alejandro, because this is something that not necessarily all the brands might have a possibility to do. Obviously, not medium sized brands will have access to such tools to do this. Would you recommend any specific tools? Like, if you want to do a market research in Mexico, if you want to do an accurate market research in Mexico, you can go to this, and give us a name, give us like a website or something, or a tool, or an agency maybe that is able to offer this service.
Yeah, well, I will look for the two different perspectives. One perspective into the online brands that are currently like leading the industry that you are that you are in, and
Mhm.
I will use a tool that is called Apollo IO,
Okay,
right?
Apollo A.
Apollo IO. Apollo IO is a great tool, like for finding brands, for finding like people, right? Like with all of the different filters that you set. Also, another great tool, it's called lead sales. Lead sales is an amazing tool that gives you a bunch of different stores. So, and then it's another one that is called Shopify Hunt. Shopify Hunt is a Chrome extension. Sorry, it's a Chrome extension that you install in your browser, and whenever you are in a Shopify store, you click run, and it gives you all of the data from that Shopify store,
Oh, that's
right?
nice.
It gives you like an estimation of sales, an estimation of orders, estimation of traffic. So you can go into your competitor's website and
And
start like,
that's legal.
I have no idea about that, Frank, but like it is possible, like,
It is possible.
and
We don't know.
I didn't build it.
Oh, that's great. That's a perfect answer. No liability
Yeah,
disclaimer here. It is possible, and it was not built by Alejandro. We know that.
exactly. Exactly.
That's nice. No, but it's a really nice tool actually, because it will allow you to check out your competition and see what's going on there. Uh,
Exactly.
Generally speaking, what the picture that you're painting is that Mexico, it's a profitable market, it has the digital maturity required, it has the technological progress required to actually provide a safe base of operations, for expanding into the entirety
Correct.
of Latin America. Is this correct? I mean, if you have to choose one market in Latin America as the first breakthrough market for then a regional expansion, would you choose Mexico?
I will choose Mexico if you are more familiar with the Hispanic market, but I will choose Brazil if you are more familiar with Portuguese.
Of course. I
But like
mean, there,
that really depends on culture.
yeah,
What
there's
you are
no
more
no
familiar with.
discussion there. You have to go for Brazil if you're aiming for the Portuguese one.
Exactly. Exactly. Those two are the biggest one by far, right? Like there are like other countries, like for example Chile, in terms of e-commerce per capita, is bigger than Mexico, but like Chile has way less population, right?
You mean
Argentina the
You mean
same.
Chile spending wise? I mean, you're talking about the spending.
Spending wise, like more people buy online, like percentage wise, more people buy online in Chile than in Mexico. So Chile's e-commerce is amazing. The maturity is like higher than Mexico, but the size of the market is way smaller,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, for a breakthrough market, for the first market, I mean, you need size also, so you can rest assured
You
that
need
at
size
least
as well.
someone is gonna buy. That's a good thing.
I would start with Mexico or Brazil, like depending on what you know a little more about.
Alejandro, it's been a pleasure as usual. It's been amazing and insightful. We have a really clear picture of what Mexico is right now regarding e-commerce, and this will, I'm sure, help convince a lot of people that wishes to sell their products and their services their European products and services in Mexico, which is now it's a real possibility. It's fairly simple, we could say, and also we will allow them to know that there are brands and there are agencies and companies that will help them, like Get More in Mexico, your agency. So could you please tell us a little bit about how could let's say a German brand could contact you if this is a possibility? Will you support them? In what language will that support be? Of course, if they are going to sell in Mexico, they need to do it in Spanish, we know that, but how can Get More be a support for these brands and help them, enter into the Mexican market? Is that a possibility? Can I come to get more and say, I have nothing, help me from zero to do it? Is that a thing?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we, like we love talking to different brands. We love to meet different owners and different people who are leading the industry somewhere else. And like I think like we have done it in the past. We have some case studies about it, where we help them to internationalize their company or their sales getting into the Mexican market, right? So we have experience creating stores that sell online in Mexico with the right with the best practices, with the right things in place, with the right tools. So yeah, so I would love to meet any brand from Europe that wants to start or wants to start exploring to coming to Mexico. Like the conversation is gonna be different between that, because like there is no secret sauce for everyone, or there is no one size fits all. Like the strategy and the implementation depends on the type of product, the type of industry, the type of market, the ticket, the average order value, and
There's
a
no
bunch of
magical
different things.
solution, of course.
There is no magical solution. Everything needs to be tackled into a different perspective. But like, yeah, we always do that. We help them to create, first of all, to make an analysis together if it's a good opportunity or not. Then we create a strategy for going to market, and then we start executing the strategy.
One final advice, Alejandro. One final advice. If you have to give only one advice to someone that is listening to you in France and wants to sell, for example, in France, and he says, I want to sell in Mexico, what should they do?
Just one advice:
Just one. I know you want to say more, but just one.
choose choose the best local partner,
And
right? the
that's it.
best the best agency, the best freelance, the best partner, distributor, whatever. Like choose the right partner.